watching Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Jack Williams, member of the Alabama House of Representatives and the man that saved football in the great state of Alabama. I mean, that's a legacy, sir. I don't even know what to do with. You can die and go to heaven now. You're fine.
Well, it was an important battle for our community, Brad. We had a lot of unrest in the student body at UAB when the decision was made.
Just so our viewers statewide understand what happened.
Well, in December, the decision was made by President Ray Watts to end the football program at UAB.
But this is Alabama. You don't end football in Alabama.
Well,
I mean, come on.
There had been a group working with him and talking to him for several weeks, trying to dissuade him from making this decision. And he felt like at that point, based off the information he had, that football just couldn't be successful at UAB. But the students took to the streets.
Right.
The social folks bombarded social media. It was an incredible grassroots campaign.
Why? Why do you think that was?
Because I think there was a real sense of unfairness in how this situation was handled. Folks felt like the kids at UAB had not been given an adequate opportunity to succeed because there'd never been real investment in the program. And there was a feeling that Dr. Watts had acted abruptly in his decision.
I mean, look, we know that Alabama and Tuscaloosa, I mean, that's a national program with tremendous success. But by definition, does that mean that UAB can't also be successful in its own right?
No, not at all. Our goal should be let Alabama be as successful as they can be
Auburn.
as a Power 5 conference. Well, UAB and Alabama are in the same university system.
We know that.
And let's take UAB and invest the kind of energy and capital it takes to make them the top mid-major program in the country.
So let's talk about what happened on the legislative side here in Montgomery, because if you think about it just kind of intuitively, how does the legislature get involved in that decision? It is a public institution, so there's that element, but then there's the idea that it's education, let them do what they do. But still, I mean, this is different. This is not just eliminating, a small little program without much of a following.
Well, we had a 3-month lag between the decision and the opening of the session.
Ah, yes.
And during that time, social media exploded. It was a big national story. ESPN, CBS Sports carried it. It was written widely about by AL.com. Tim Brando talked about it extensively on his satellite radio program. I was on Tim's program. Paul Feinbaum discussed this on the SEC Network.
But how did I mean, look, there are several members of the legislature from the greater Birmingham area, yet you became the face of the issue.
Well,
do you represent the actual campus?
I don't represent the actual campus, but I had a long-term relationship with the university, with Gene Bartow, the father of UAB athletics, who, of course, came here from UCLA to where he succeeded John Wooden to start the UAB athletic program. And Coach Bartow and I had a long, rich relationship. And I just had been very engaged in that community, so I stepped forward, and the media was very responsive to this. Because
did you have any sense what your life would all of a sudden resemble?
No,
when you decided to take the laboring war on this fight.
On heavy news days, there would be times I would be in front of the camera or on a radio show. I would do sometimes 8 or 10 interviews a day. But it kept the story blowing out there and going national, and the story grew. And it wasn't just, at one time we were referred to by the chancellor of the UA system as the vocal minority, and that just incensed the growing number of people.
Probably helped your cause.
Absolutely. We polled the state. Over 70% of the folks in the state of Alabama felt like UAB should be able to have its own football team.
And so you go back into session in February, like you said. Come
back into session in early March. We started working on our legislative package. March 21st, I believe it was, the day that 15th seed UAB knocks off number 3 seed Iowa State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I introduced legislation at tip-off to revamp the University of Alabama System Board of Trustees,
Brilliant.
to require to require football at UAB, and to require ethics and SACS training for university board members. Those bills got buried in committee. There was a lot of behind the scenes in the halls of power.
Right.
There was a lot of pushback on this.
But the question is, and you're a strategist, a tactician, was it really about, I mean, between us, no one listening, was it really about getting that legislation passed, or was it keeping the momentum, the story alive?
It was keeping pressure on folks, keeping the story alive. And we had, a week later, we dropped a big bombshell on some documents that were released that called into question the timeline as the university officials had outlined it. And it just, the momentum was going our way. People were joining forces, and then we finally kept it alive long enough that the Birmingham business community got engaged, and in about a 3-week period of time in the month of May, they raised $17 million to cover the operational deficit for UAB. They raised the $3 million that was necessary to overcome to pay for the mistake that was made in shutting down the football program, and then $3 or $4 million toward practice facilities, and had a $7.5 million commitment toward a new stadium. So we raised $28 to $30 million in less than a month.
Sir, I mean, what that must have done for you, for your constituents, to think that Alabama came together, that Birmingham came together to keep a program alive with not necessarily a storied past, but a pride that's palpable.
It was a convergence of things. You're right. UAB doesn't have a rich football heritage, but it was an improving team, and this was an embarrassment to a community that. Listen, we all know we've not always put our best foot forward nationally, and we've got people look at Birmingham, they look at Alabama and go, really? And it was an opportunity. A challenge was laid out there, and this community rose to the occasion.
So
I've never been more proud to be a member of this community than I was.
I feel I just got chills, my friend.
Not about football, but just seeing this community come together over racial lines, socioeconomic lines, and this community said, we want to be great. We want national coverage and national news about something we've done that nobody else has done that's right and positive, and we did it.
You did it. It was announced recently.
Yes,
the
just
program
recently.
Is coming back.
Coming back. Bill Clark is returning as our head coach, who came in and turned the program around in one brief season.
I got to ask you, how did you find out? Did you get a phone call? How did you find out?
Well, I knew on December 2nd, we were told we want football, but it's about the money.
Okay.
And when the business community engaged, the leaders in the business community met with Dr. Watts right after Memorial Day and said, there is no deficit. We will handle the deficit. We will raise the money.
But the moment, what was the moment? Did someone call you?
Well, I knew going on, and then there was a press conference called. And when the press conference was called, we knew we had won.
You're a good man. You're a good man, Jack Williams. He is a member of the Alabama State Legislature. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Charter Local Edition.